but yeah, I mean, it's natural as a leader, as a manager, when that person starts coming towards you, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Like he's he's got something on his mind and he's about to share it.
Yep.
And am I? Do I have the energy to listen today?
Yep.
And to know that if that person ever goes quiet, you
We're
got
in
a big
trouble.
problem. Your
Yeah.
problem is much bigger than when they're speaking out.
Welcome again to It Doesn't Take a Genius, conversation with introspective perspectives and pithy points of view. Here are your hosts, my friends, Max and Marty.
I think that's Mark and Mike.
Yeah, whatever.
Ramsey!
Marshall, what a pleasure to see you yet again.
Likewise, my friend. Likewise, I think my voice changed there in the middle of the Ramsey. That was quite shocking to me.
Helping people go through puberty, one of our many services.
Yes, that's what today's episode is all about. No. Yeah.
That would be a change.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing we could add to this body of work that Dr. Ruth hasn't already covered. So,
seems like we're getting into a hairy subject. I don't know.
I got one more,
Anyway.
but that would get us banned by YouTube. So today's actual topic.
Yes, please get us back on track.
Yeah, stems from a quote. Right, I see this meme all the time. And I get weird memes because, I tend to focus my social media on work primarily.
Yeah.
And then this one comes across and it says, the biggest concern for any organization should be when their most passionate people become quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Steeps. And you and I have had the experience to coach and facilitate in organizations where this has occurred, and we've also experienced it firsthand ourselves. Where we work in organizations where, at certain points, highly outspoken, highly, engaged people checked out.
Yeah.
And so had an opportunity not too long ago where the department leader was holding a meeting, and there's tons of turmoil in this particular department, lots of stuff going on everywhere, and
like that was already known.
It was already known, everybody knows, and so they had a meeting. Get it out on the table,
right?
We're gonna hash this out, and so have the meeting, and the leaders are there, the team members are there. All right, so what's getting in the way of us, being a high performing team? What's getting in the way of us taking better care of customers? And everybody's like, well, it's fine, everything's good. It's like, yeah, I know there's stuff out there. What is it? Finally, one super engaged team member offered up something that was not big, but kind of a medium level concern. Okay. That's all right. We
could go somewhere with this.
Yeah, this is good. All right, what else? That's all good. It's fine. So the leader ended up talking some more, and the meeting was adjourned.
Wow.
And then, of course, I show up for some one-on-ones and some small groups and stuff like that. So I get basically the meeting after the meeting.
Yeah.
Here's all the stuff that's going on. And of course, my question is, okay, so what kept you from bringing that up at the meeting when they asked? I mean, they literally asked.
Right.
And the team members, to some extent, to paraphrase, would say something like, well, I used to bring that stuff up all the time. I used to keep bringing this up, and I brought it to their attention, and I'd point things out, and I'd even, say, hey, here's some things we could do. And it seems like nothing ever changes. And it was weird because I heard that from different people, that same exact series of words.
Yep.
Yeah. Nothing's gonna change. Nothing ever changes. It was, this similar idea. And so people who were passionate about making the organization better just went quiet.
Just said, not worth it.
Yeah. It's
Mm.
I was reading author Tim McClure. He said, when passionate employees become quiet, it usually sends a signal that the work environment has become very dysfunctional. Suspicion and insecurity clouds the culture, and employees retreat into self-protection behaviors to protect themselves from forces within the company.
Well, that's not good. First off,
Yeah, I'm picturing Darth Vader leading his
right.
staff meeting.
That's 100% right.
Yeah, your
in
lack
fact,
of faith concerns me.
right. In fact, I think I need to show you this, since you said that most of your stuff is that you come across in work as memes. So there's one. Darth Vader doing a flip chart facilitation. Really bad star, nasty star, death star. That was what the brainstorm eventually came up with. Anyway, glad I could share that with you. Yep. So anyway, what it made me think of is the 5 dysfunctions of a team, and how at the early stages of dysfunctions, you have to be able to fight. You have to be able to have conflict, and you don't do that if you don't have trust. So something's happened that's made people say, it's not worth it. I'm either they don't listen, or there's retribution. There's something bad that happens as a result of me bringing up some stuff honestly.
Oh yeah. Either way, I don't feel like anybody is listening. From our last episode, I don't feel like anybody cares. And even if they do care, maybe I get the sense that they care, but they're not doing anything.
Yep.
One or more of those things, will eventually, and it takes a while. And I think that's what's so interesting about the quote, when passionate people become quiet. So they were passionate, you could see their passion, in their words and actions, and then all of a sudden it goes quiet, and all of a sudden it's not there anymore.
And when we say that you make sure your people know that you hear them, that you're responding to them. Like, we're not talking about, adding another week to their holiday schedule. We're not talking about a 20% raise. That's not the kind of stuff we're talking about. We're talking about, hey, the faucet in the employee bathroom is broken, so it gets fixed, right? Like, instead of for a year being ignored. I can't say much about this story because it's a proprietary thing, but I had an employee group. I facilitated a meeting, gathering input. One of their ideas seemed somewhat minor, but it was a concern about something that had been forgotten that we needed to catch up on as an organization on some files we had, and brought it up. The leader was like, yeah, we should do that. And I'll get to work on that. Well, 2 months later, we had another meeting about the topic, and he had done work on it. It wasn't done yet, but he had actually done work on it. And he said, I don't want to say anything to him until I've got it done. And I said, I would say something so that you get a little bit of credit for the fact that you are on this thing, because we didn't think it was that big of a deal, but he was taking action. Go ahead and let them know that they're heard. So we did in the meeting, and it turns out that this is a big deal to them.
Oh yeah,
it was a home run.
Oh yeah, it's amazing how many home runs you can hit by doing these little things.
Yeah.
The towel dispenser came off the wall in the woman's bathroom, and had been sitting on the floor for months.
Perfect example.
And nobody had done anything. They brought it to management. Management was all male. They didn't go in there. They didn't experience having to get towels off the ground. So yeah,
and may not have cared anyway.
yeah. It's like, that's fine. So you got that, and you make such a good point. an organization that you and I both coached one time. So I go in, I'm new to the organization. We're doing an employee engagement survey. We want to find out, how people feel about the company. And I'm starting to introduce, the process of how this survey is going to work. And everybody's just sitting there just giving me the death glare, just arms crossed, just mad. Like nobody's talking, just, like, wow, this, they don't know, they haven't known me long enough to hate me. This is, it'll happen, but it seems early. And so I finally, it's time out. What's going on? We did a survey months ago, and nothing ever came of it. Like, oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. What it was, asked about the survey and some of the stuff. So I go back to the management team, and I was like, man, these guys are really upset. I said, they said they did a survey, they told you some stuff, and you haven't done anything. They're like, well, that's not true. Like, okay, this is interesting. So they got out the list. Right, here's the stuff from the survey, and they had done about half of it. Little things. The one department wanted a little more lighting, so they did very, very detailed work, and they couldn't see properly, and just these small little painting the wall and stuff like that. And so they'd done it like half of it.
Wow.
The piece they hadn't done
was
to follow up and say, based upon your feedback, we have done the following. You may have noticed better lighting. You may have noticed cleaner place over here. You may have noticed this is more organized, that we put these shelves in. And here's some things that are in process, not quite done yet. These were bigger items. And then here's the list of things that we're just not going to do right now. So they did the hard part. They did the stuff. They acted upon the feedback. They didn't close the communication loop. And their defense was, well, they can see it.
No.
Literally, the lighting was much better. They saw the lighting was better, but they didn't connect the lighting getting better to the meeting that they'd had and the survey feedback that they had filled out.
Right. And that is just like, why would you not put some goodwill in your bucket? Because you're going to eventually need to dump out some of that goodwill on things that you need. I need people to stay late, or whatever it is that's going to be an ask of the employees. Why would you not go ahead and tell them, hey, I am working here for you? Why would you not do it? And it's because you think that they're just going to notice, and they're not. They're just not.
Yeah, and they got some appreciation for the fix, but they didn't get the full appreciation for the most important part, which was the listening. Yeah, exactly. I heard you, and I acted upon your feedback. You have good ideas. Yeah, I appreciate those good ideas, and I'm taking action on them. Yeah. So for them, it was like, well, we did the thing. It's obvious, right? Everybody can see it. It's like,
well, it dawns on me, we recorded a Thanksgiving episode, and I'm not sure of the order that these are going to air, but this is sort of the second part of that, that these little actions that we do that demonstrate care. Well, here's a little action, let your people know that you're listening in some way. You've got to pick a way, but there's got to be some way that you let your people know that you're listening. And you're probably going to have to tell them, I'm listening. Here's some proof. I cannot emphasize how often an organization that I've worked with over the years has missed an opportunity to increase engagement because they never went back to their people and told them what they did.
Oh, 100%. Well, I think there's the other element of this is that sometimes these passionate people are not the best communicators.
That's right.
So Captain D. Michael Abrashoff, the author of It's Your Ship, he took youngest Navy captain in the Pacific Fleet, takes over one of the worst performing ships, can't change the crew, He's got to turn this thing around. So one of the things he wanted to do was he wanted to start eating in the mess hall with the sailors instead of in his captain's banquet dining area.
Right.
And so the first day he goes down to eat in the mess hall. He gets his tray. He's walking around, and then in a classic after school special moment, there's a sailor sitting all by themselves at a table in the cafeteria. And so Captain Evershaw says, well, I'm going to sit with this guy, just see what's going on. And the chief enlisted officer grabs him as he's heading towards the table and says, you can't sit there. He said, well, why can't I sit there? He said, well, Michael Pickett is sitting there. Well, who's Michael Pickett? And the chief enlisted officer says, he is the biggest whiner and complainer on the entire ship. The captain says, well, that's exactly who I want to have lunch with.
That's who I want.
Yeah, that's the guy I'm looking for. So he sits down, he has lunch with Michael Pickett, and he listens. Michael goes on a rant, right? He's incredibly passionate about how the ship could be better. And the captain says, I agreed with 90% of what he was saying. He was very intelligent. He was correct. I disagreed with about 90%. Michael says, I disagreed with about 90% of the way he said it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, it was poorly presented, and so, but if you could look past that and see that this person cared as much, maybe even more than the captain did about making the place better. He just didn't have the social skills to express it in a way that people would want to listen and act upon it.
It comes off as combative or disrespectful.
I'm angry. This guy's just angry. And so the opportunity to redirect those people, and how can teach them how to present their ideas, but know that the stuff they're seeing is the stuff that I absolutely need to hear about.
So I think you're making a case for the humility needed for leadership, because it's very easy to say, I'm not going to be talked to that way. There's at least a little bit of respect that I'm owed here, due to the fact that, I sunk my life savings into starting this business, or, I climbed the ranks and do have some authority here, or, fill in the blank anywhere in between. But I do think that sometimes to be a leader, you just have to be humble and take that, even if it's not deserved, so that you can harness it and do what Abershoff did and glean the good stuff and put it to use. I'm going to take a wild guess that in classic after school special fashion, this young enlisted man was turned around.
Oh, definitely. So yeah, he actually, the captain met with him periodically, talking to him about the issues and what was being addressed, but also the manner in which he approached people. And then after Michael Pickett got out of the Navy, he actually ran for city council in his hometown and did a nice job there. So
that's cool.
So yeah, it all ended up really well. But yeah, I mean, it's natural as a leader, as a manager, when that person starts coming towards you, you're like, oh. Like he's got something on his mind and he's about to share it. And do I have the energy to listen today? And to know that if that person ever goes quiet, you got a big problem. Your problem is much bigger than when they're speaking out. Yeah. Right. If they give up, if they go quiet and they no longer care about making the place better to the point they're willing to talk about it, then there's bigger dysfunctions going on in your department. There's probably a whole lot of other people who feel the same way.
So let me throw in one last thing that you've made me think of, Mike, and I'd basically like to convince people to not hire us. What I mean by that is the meeting that you had where everybody was giving you the death stare. The reason that went well and ended up blossoming into something good for the organization was because you said, time out. I sense that you're not talking. What's going on? There is no reason at all. You can refer back to some resources that we've provided on the podcast, but there's no reason at all that a manager, a leader, can't be equipped themselves to say those very words. Mm-hmm. And so the material we did around crucial conversations, we've got a whole web page dedicated to it with handouts and podcast episodes and so on. Would be a great way to do that. You're just trying to get people to feel safe enough to actually open back up and start telling you what's really going on. And it's a powerful thing. It's a tool that facilitators have. It's something you and I both have done. I did it just last week. I said, I don't think this meeting's going very well. And I'd like you, I sense that nobody's comfortable telling me right now what's going on, but I'd like you to come up to me afterwards one-on-one. Man, I got some attention by saying that. There's no reason. I mean, there's obviously a benefit to having a third party do it because people feel like they can talk and so on. But man, be the leader who's humble enough and making people feel safe enough that you can ask that and say, I sense things have changed. What's going on? Somebody tell me. That's a powerful, powerful, powerful thing that a leader can do. So go do that to counteract this whole issue we're talking about in this episode. And you may not even have to hire us. Oh, absolutely.
And how many times have we done that? We've gone in and we've prepared. We've done a little, did our homework, and we've talked to the key people, and this is what they want to focus on in this particular visit, this interaction. And then you get there and you're like, all right, we're not going to do any of that.
That's right.
Okay, there's something bigger going on here. And then you go and if you don't address the most intense current pain, they can't focus on this other thing, which may be perfectly a viable topic to focus on.
Sure.
But it's not the one that's intensely burning at that moment. Yeah. And so until we do something with this, we can't go focus on the other thing.
And what's worse is you're now seen as tone deaf.
Yeah. As The Rock would say, you're not picking up what I'm putting down.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly
I can't smell what The Rock is
smell
cooking.
It. Yeah. Right.
So that's a great observation. The ability to, if you want the football analogy, right, I'm going to call an audible. Right. We had a huddle. We put together a plan. We're all lined up to do the thing. And I look around and go, all right, we got to do something else. All right. This may not go well. Let's change this.
Yep.
And then, we're off and running. And that could be the most, and how many times have you had that happen where they go at the end of this impromptu thing that you thought was a sidebar, they go, that was the best meeting we ever had.
Yep. It will be the thing remembered at the end of the year.
Yeah. When we got that, we got all that out and talked that through. That was the best thing we ever done.
Yep.
And you're like, I actually prepared some really neat stuff.
I spent hours on this.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. But that wasn't what they needed at the time.
That's right.
Excellent. Good stuff.
Huge stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we'll throw it over to kind of wrap it up. Somebody who's always passionate about his love for our podcast, our announcer, Mr. John Wolf.
And that's a wrap. It doesn't take a genius. The blog dedicated to reducing the irreducible. Next time, prime numbers. What makes them so special? Join us then. And thanks for listening.
That's good enough.